Every video I make starts with two things. One is an explanation that I didn't plan to make this video, it's just something I've decided to do on the cuff, on the spur of the moment. And the other thing is an apology for the mess, which is a fairly constant thing in my workshop. So what I'm going to do a little video on is forging these small rounded up sections in square bar. Now the process that I'm going to use this time is going to slightly vary from what I've done in the past, but I thought I'd sort of document it. So I should explain this is a gate that I've been working on, and I've now got to make a pair of double gates on the same sort of design profile, aesthetic, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so I've got to do this twice, once on each back style. So here's one of my back styles, and what I've started off by doing is marking the points and then just scoring into the corners with hacksaw, and then bringing the scored corners over to this little hardened piece of block, which I must have made it from something like a piece of railway track or something, and I've never paid too much attention to what I quench in. I think for the most part I quench in water, and I know that there's probably a lot of folks out there that'll tell me, oh, the stuff you want to quench in is this plus salt plus whatever, and I don't know, I've never gone that deep into it all. But this thing has stayed so crisp and hard, and it's such I only have a cold work on it. So what I do is get those little nicked corners that I've scored with a hacksaw, get them sat onto there, and then hit down on top with the copper mallet, rotate it round, and this thing here it stays crisp and sharp. So I've kind of fluked that. Then what I'll do is get this area hot and bring it over to my hydraulic press, where I have a butcher setup, I think that's what you call it. Now the bottom has an angle on it and a little radius on here, and it has these little pegs that stick up, and onto them I stack washers to the depth that I want. So this is like 20 millimeters, and these little pegs go up into there, and this also has, this block has a matching angle that matches that angle. After doing the start-stop points, I'll bring it over to the power hammer, where I've got my swage, I think they're called swages, with a 20 millimeter diameter hole in, and like sort of elliptical, I think that's the word. It's softened off this way. So that's the process I'll be going through. So because I need to flip this tooling around so I can work it back the other way, otherwise I've got to turn the bar around and hold it from the back side, which is going to be quite hard. There's quite a big counterweight. So I'm going to repeat this process on the other bar, then I'll flip the tooling around and do both, working the other way. So this is bar number 2. I suppose I could go on these sides now. In fact, I will do that. I'll get both bars hot and I'll work on these flats as well. I will do that. This is good and visible. So that I'm going to repeat that with the other bar. Get rid of those. So now I flip them round, I can work back that way without having to turn the bar around and be holding onto a really short stumpy bit like this and having a long bit extending out that way. So then there's my start-stop points defined, and I just have to round that bit up under the swage. started to happen there is it's bending. A big nasty lump of clinker stuck to that, so I'll scrape that off. But it started to bend, so I had to give it a tap to try and recenter it a bit. So I'm going to warm this area up and just make sure that it hasn't twisted out of alignment and it's still nice and straight in one plane, or in both planes. I'm going to give it a tap with a hide mallet at the anvil, but then it'll be done. Here's the result of what I was doing yesterday. This is the areas that I butchered into and then swaged up. And then I repeated the repeated the process down here, where I butchered in and then swaged round, but then cut off and ground to a point, because these are the bottom ends that are going to sort of spin in a, I think it's called a journal down in the ground. I think it's called a journal, a pot maybe, I don't know what. Anyway, and the pot has a sort of female interior, which is the opposite to this sort of pointed male tenon, and that sort of helps keep it centered in the pot. Journal, whatever it's called. Maybe the top's called a journal, I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, if you don't butcher in first, you seem to get more of a rounded corner to the shoulders, which in some respects looks nicer, but I quite like the kind of deliberate look of these shoulders. Go back to this blooming phone. I don't know how to make it zoom to. It zooms too far in and out. Yeah, just keeping things straight was what I was doing at the vise, and twisting, because it can, through the process of turning it in the swage under the power hammer, it can get twisted out of alignment. So it's just twisting it back into alignment and then giving it a tap to straighten it up if needs be. Anyway,